And then we could have a probably made by, and that's what I had in this instance. And that is that we have all association in class characteristics, so the outsole design is the same, and the size is the same, and the physical shape is the same. And we have some individual characteristics. In this instance, the condition of the shoes and the quality of the imprints at the seam lended it more to this conclusion than to an identification or to what could have made. And that was just based on what I had to work with. And then we have a could have made. So a could have made is an association of class characteristics. So it corresponds in outsole design, it corresponds in physical size and physical shape, and it could have been made by that shoe or any shoe with the same class characteristics, because class characteristics belong to include. And then we have an inconclusive, so we couldn't do anything based on the evidence that we have. And we also have a probably did not make, or an elimination.
So basically, starting at the top, identification means that shoe made that. Then you have the probably made. Then you have the could have made. And then you have the, what was the next one?
It's an inconclusive.
Inconclusive. And then you go into the eliminations. It probably couldn't have made, and you eliminated entirely.
Correct.
Okay, so on this scale, we're at number 2 on these.
Yeah.
And given the condition, it would have been more difficult based upon the condition of the actual shoes they had to compare and the condition of the inference to make something more complex.
Yes, I certainly see information.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Any thoughts? Briefly. First, I gotta stand up. Do you have a resume? This 33? Now, let's see. You went to Tufts, right?
Yes, I did.
And was one of your areas of study in archaeology?
It was.
Do any digs?
I did.
Whereabouts?
In France.
Okay. Was that your junior year, or was that,
That was the summer after my sophomore year, I think, or my freshman year. The summer after my freshman year of college.
any dinosaurs?
No, we did not find dinosaurs.
All right. Now, are you familiar with the phrase reasonable degree of certainty?
Yes.
And does that have a particular reason, definition in the field of forensic science?
Yes. Basically, based upon the science that we are working with, we have a degree of certainty. So it's a reasonable degree of certainty. It is not a guess, because we base it on scientific principles.
Well, I didn't hear you use that phrase when you gave your 4 levels of opinion. Reasonable degree of certainty. You didn't say that, did you?
I did not.
Okay. Have you testified before?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever used that phrase before? My opinion, to a reasonable degree of certainty, da 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 da. Have you done that before?
I don't believe I have.
Okay. Anyway, incidentally, these shoes are Michael Calabrese's shoes, right? These are Calabrese's shoes. Yeah, do you know?
I don't know the origins of the shoes.
Did you get a transmittal letter don't you get a transmittal letter when you're asked to do testing?
I do.
And where is that? Is in your file?
It's in my file.
You made a witness resume to stand, pull that out. Yes. You got a transmittal letter from home. Do you have the transmittal letters in front of you?
Well, what I have is our evidence receipt, and the evidence is brought into the laboratory.
Right.
along with the request for examination of physical evidence, and then I have a copy of a report.
Okay, with of course, permission, I'm just gonna look over your shoulder here. My question really is, did anybody tell you that these were Michael Calabrese's shoes? Anyone tell you that?
No,
So as you sit here, you don't know who they belong to,
correct,
because that's not what we do.
right.
So.
Did you reach your conclusions based upon a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes, I did.
Were your conclusions subject to peer review?
Yes, they were.
Did the examiner who co-signed your report and reviewed your conclusions agree on 100% of your conclusions?
Yes,
Was that co-signer Greg Kettering?
yes, it
And how many years, if you know, experience does Greg Kettering have at the forensic lab?
In imprint comparison, I'd say 5 years, 6 years,
And at the lab in general?
15.
Very experienced examiner. Nothing further.
Well, I don't want to belabor the point, but can we put in the screen the conclusions? We don't contest your findings, I'm just going to ask you. Okay, those are your conclusions, right? And imprints 1, 2, 4, and 5 were probably made by a known right shoe. Sorry. See it? Yes. Imprints 1, 2, 4, and 5 were probably made by the known right shoe in submission 1, right?
Correct.
And the submission 1 is the transmission letter you get from the state police.
That's the laboratory number for that item, submission 1.
And then you say in print 3 could have been made by the known right shoe in submission, whatever, 001, right? And then you say imprints 6, 7, and 8 were made by a left shoe and cannot be compared to submission number 2 due to the condition of the shoe, right?
Correct.
And so when you write up these reports in your regular duties over at the lab, do you ever use the phrase reasonably certain?
No, we do not.
And when you testify in court, do you use the phrase reasonably certain?
Well, objection, I think she just did. Moments ago.
Oh, you usually say it's, in my opinion, based upon my comparison, it's reasonably certain that, and then you give your conclusion.
I don't always do that one.
How long have you been at the lab?
5 years, almost 6 years.
Were you there when Dr. Lee was there, or did he already retire?
I was not there when he was there.
Thank you.
Just a brief follow-up. Should have asked you this earlier. When you talk about a known, is that the given item that the lab has? So when you're not talking about it, some known shoe, and you know the identity of the person who wore it. You're talking about this is the known that you have in the case to compare to the transfers.
Yes, I compare a known shoe to a questioned imprint.
And when you talk about the submission, that is the pattern transfer submission
The submission is.
and the lab number that it's given.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you, nothing further.
Anything further?
No, you-
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll leave it to you, at this point, I don't think we'll get very far in this 5 minutes.
No, I would agree with Your Honor, thank you.
Nobody minds will break over early. Nobody appears to mind. So, we'll excuse the jury at this point. Again, remind you, we'll contact, we covered a lot of ground today, and we have to hold the promise not to discuss the case with anybody, not to formally run the proceeding, because we're very busy. So thank you very much for your attention to this day. And we have a good evening. We will excuse you as always. We will wait for you to leave before we do. And Laura, if you would, we will follow the suggestion of bringing the notebooks into the deliberation room and leaving them there